Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. And here is another video of history of old First Division teams. This time it's the history of Liverpool FC, the mighty Reds. Liverpool over the seasons, over the years, have become the most successful football team in Britain. They've won every major honour going. This domination of Liverpool started in 1959 when Bill Shankly, the legendary and great Bill Shankly, arrived at Liverpool and he made Liverpool into what they are now today, the most fearsome team in Britain. They were the most fierce team in the old First Division. Like I've said at the beginning of the video, they won trophy after trophy. When Bill Shankly became Liverpool's manager, Liverpool were languishing in the old second division at the time, and they won promotion this year, the 61-62 season. And then in the 63-64 season, they went on to win the old first division title, and that's where their dominance started. And in 1965, they won their first FA Cup, beating Leeds United 2-1 in extra time. And that's when Liverpool started to win trophy after trophy. The players Liverpool had back then were greats of the game. They had Sir Roger Hunt, as the Liverpool player fans call him. He was a goal scorer for Liverpool. Then you had Ian St John, another great Liverpool player. And then you had Ian Callaghan, another Liverpool player, and another great Liverpool player. And then, of course, you had the fearsome Tommy Smith. He could, he used to put tackles in. He used to hurt other opponents, like Norman Hunter and Ron Harris. They were the similar players. But that's when, like I've said, that's when Liverpool's dominance began. When they won the old First Division in 1964, and the following year they won the FA Cup in 1965. When they were beaten they were played in their first European Cup final, and they were beaten by Borussia Mönchengladbach. And then towards the end of the 60s, and we got into the 70s, that's when Liverpool really dominated the old First Division. They still had the old players, but of course, by that time, the likes of Roger Hunt and Ian St John, they were coming to the end of their playing careers with Liverpool, and they retired. And that's when, like I've said, Liverpool's dominance really started. Bill Shankly was still manager then in the 70s, and he signed John Toshak from Cardiff City, and then he also signed a young Kevin Keegan from Scunthorpe. And of course, as they say, the rest is history. Those two, Keegan and Toshak, uh, scored loads of goals, and they caused absolute havoc to other defenders in the old First Division. and of course Liverpool began to win trophy after trophy. Then in the 1970s, they were in the FA. They got to the FA Cup in the 1971 FA Cup final, where they were beaten by Arsenal 2-1. After that was after extra time, and that was the start of when the Liverpool players started to it all started to change for Liverpool. And like I said, they signed Toshack and they signed Keegan, and then they had Steve Iway, who was Emily News, and Tommy Smith was still playing then in the 70s. By 1974, that's when Liverpool reached another cup final when they beat Newcastle 3-0. And that was the end of that final in the summer of that year. Will Shankly announced he was retiring, and then the new manager was Bob Paisley. He also had success with winning the league, the old First Division. Liverpool won the old First Division title in the 75-76 season, and then they went on to win the European Cup in 1977. Then they won it again in 1978. And then, not long after that, Bob Paisley retired and Joe Fagan took over. More success followed for Liverpool during that period, the late 70s into the 80s. But Liverpool will always be remembered as for the players they'd got at the time. Like I said, the players like Tommy Smith. Now, like he used to put himself about, he used tackles in. They was known as hard men of the old First Division in the start of the 70s. The likes of, well, like I've said, Norman Hunter and Ron Harris at Chelsea. They used to be hard men, and they used to put tackles in, punching tackles. If they'd have been playing today, they wouldn't have been on the field. They'd have been shown red cards galore today. If they were still playing today, those players, they would have never finished the match. They would have been sent off in today's refereeing. But the referees back then never used to take any notice of what the tackles was going on. But unlike today, it's like I've said, Liverpool back then in the 70s, they dominated the old First Division. They won trophy after trophy. They won the old UEFA Cup as well. They won that. They won that as well. So they won trophy after trophy. And of course, Gon Toshak, he was coming towards the end of his playing career, and he retired. And then Kevin Keegan also, well, he didn't retire, but he left Liverpool in 1977 and joined Hamburg, a German team. And Liverpool then signed Kenny Dalglish, King Kenny, as the Liverpool fans called him. And Emily News, well, he left Liverpool to join Wolves. But those were the glory days of Liverpool when they dominated the old First Division. After they won the '78 European Cup, there was Nottingham Forest beat them, beat Liverpool to win their first European Cup was in 1979. But the 60s and the 70s, they will always be remembered as Liverpool's start of Liverpool's dominance, especially when Bill Shankly was there. Like I've said, the Liverpool had such great players at the time in the 60s, especially in the 70s. They still had players like Tommy Smith playing for them, Ian Callaghan, he was still playing before new players arrived. They had they had Ray Clements in goal, Phil Thompson. He joined Liverpool, and of course, towards the end of the 70s, Liverpool signed Alan Hansen, and they also signed James Souness. James Souness, the Liverpool signed him from Middlesbrough. And you know what a tough tackler he was. Yes, there was golden times then in the 70s with the likes of Liverpool winning trophy after trophy. And now, well, of course, last season, they won the Premier League, but this season, they've not had a very good season, have they? This season, Liverpool. But all those players, like I've mentioned, the likes of Tommy Smith, Roger Hunt, and Ian St John, and Ian Callaghan, they'll always be remembered but fondly by the Liverpool fans. And Tommy Lawrenson, he was Liverpool's goalkeeper at the time in the 60s, in the 70s. But then Ray Clements came along and he became Liverpool's number one goalkeeper. But yes, Liverpool back then, especially in the 70s, they had it was a golden time for them to winning trophy after trophy. And they'll always be remembered by the Liverpool fans. Because Liverpool, they played up some great football when Bill Shankly was there. He played Liverpool played football how it should be played, not like today. I mean, today's players was played in the 70s, they wouldn't have survived. They wouldn't have lasted 5 minutes. The players back then, the Liverpool players and every old First Division players who played for old First Division teams played for the love of the game. Not like today when they want money. They didn't get the money like they do today. Well, that's the end of this video, the history of Liverpool. I'll see you all again in another video.